Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome here at Crypto Hash Review, where we educate and disseminate information about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, from a Muslim perspective. Um, and in our introduction on a discussion about Bitcoin, specifically not cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin, from an Islamic perspective, whether it be halal and haram, I think it's very, very, very important before we even attempt to move on to discuss this topic. We must first understand or bring into the conversation, I should say, bring into the conversation a riba. A riba, or what is translated loosely as interest, is a big thing. It's not a small sin, it's a major sin. The Messenger of Allah said that the smallest level of interest or usury or whatever is almost like marrying your mother. So it's quite severe. And it's unfortunate that in this day and age, Muslims take this topic very lightly. I mean, just the other day, I mentioned to one brother how this particular thing has interest in it, and his response to me was he doesn't care, he's going to keep his money in that thing. So it's a common thing. Muslims do all sorts of stuff with their money, and they don't really ever factor in how to eliminate riba or interest from their lives, from their earnings, from their income, from their wealth. And there's a hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu where he describes that there will come one of the signs of the hour is that riba would spread so much that it will touch everybody's hands. Now, when would that be? How would that look? What does that mean? I don't know the absolute reality, the exact reality. However, our current reality is almost actually exactly described like that. So let's start off. M1 money. The money which is issued by the government, 99.9% of it that is issued M1 money is issued through government issued bonds. It is a debt. It is a interest bearing loan. As we mentioned in the previous video when we discussed about the history of money, so governments will issue bonds which are interest bearing debts, and central banks would pick that up and they would issue new currency as a result of that. So money, the original money, central bank money, is issued through out of nothing, literally out of nothing, through a loan that should be paid back by us. So effectively, every individual who is in a country that has a central bank that issues these loans, they take out loans on your behalf. What do you mean by on your behalf? Meaning that taxation is supposed to pay off that debt, so therefore it is on your behalf. They didn't ask you permission, they didn't consult you, but they just issued these debts and you were happy to just go along with it. So that's the beginning. Now there are some currencies that are issued by government that is not through that, but that is a very small example of that. So I think out of the US monetary supply, which is in the trillions, I think less than $500,000 is actually issued from the time of Abraham Lincoln. The rest of it is all through interest-bearing loans. And then once this money that the government have issued and printed out of thin air have circulated amongst society, then it gets to us, the people, and we deposit it into the banks. And when we deposit it into the banks, then the banks use that as a basis, as collateral for further loans, which is now M2 money. So if you can imagine that the government issued riba money, let's just say £1 million of riba money. Once it got out into circulation, now that £1 million has been inflated to 10 to 20 million pounds. So that's now M2 money. So the actual currency in our wallet, in our bank accounts, everything like that is actually, it came into existence through riba. So that's number two. Number three, when people go to the bank and they ask for a mortgage, or they go to someone and ask for, get a car on finance or anything like that, even student loans. When you get a student loan, all the student loans are more related to directly from the government. But basically, these are all further interest-bearing loans, and that is new money being brought into circulation. There's a common myth about interest that is that when you, for example, if I put £10 in the bank will take the £10 and they will lend it to someone else £10. So therefore, there's not any new money being created. Just your money has been used to make to give out a loan, and it comes back in. But what people would fail to realize is that, yes, you may say that that £10 that you deposited into the bank account is now being lent out to someone else, but you can still go on claim back that £10 of the bank. You can still go and withdraw that £10. So effectively, if you look in your online banking, it still says £10 in there. So if you have £10 and they have now £10, therefore now that £10 has now become 20. So we need to realize that every single time a person gets a loan for any purpose whatsoever from the bank, they are part of the process of creating new money. And that newly created money was from the loan. Obviously, they have the condition that obviously you pay back that money, and therefore that newly created money will be destroyed. I mean, that's effectively how you destroy money. But the point is, our fiat system is built upon riba. The money we have, the money we spend, the money we receive for things is all built on riba. And like I said, also includes education. So our student loans, student education, it's not that we pay our taxes and then they pay for education. No, education is paid for through government lending, through government fundraising, through this process of riba, and taxes come to pay back pay back the debt that's already been taken out. So even the education we live in as it is. The money we keep in our banks is safekeeping. It's not safekeeping. They use it to perpetuate the system. If only 4% of the population in the UK withdrew all their money from the bank, the banking system would end because there's no more money left to give out. You've literally emptied out the bank account of all the money they have. That's how fragile our system is. So every time we think we are storing our money in the bank account and we think we're quite happy that our money is safe and secure, what you're actually doing in reality is helping to support that riba-based system. We can't just get around it and say, oh, well, this is how it is, not my fault. Yeah, it may not be your fault, but the question is, if there are alternatives to that system, should we not give it consideration? And also, when it comes to even benefits, sometimes the person might be receiving some kind of benefit, either tax credit, job seekers allowance, any kind of benefit. This money doesn't come out of thin air. It comes through the same process as mentioned above. So our fiat system, our current monetary-based system, is from the ground up all based on riba, interest. So in this discussion about alternative currencies that are not the same as this system, we as Muslims need to give this serious consideration. It doesn't mean just because it is riba, we must do anything else. What it does mean is that looking at our current situation, we need to look at alternatives, or at least keep our minds open to alternatives and look at it deeply. Find any exit we can to leave this system. Even to the extent whereby we would consider doing the lesser of two evils. Even if there's another situation that is also a bad situation, but that sin is less than the sin of riba, then we should go to that situation. So this is also an important part of this discussion about Bitcoin, whether Bitcoin is allowed or not, that people often overlook and forget, or don't even realize it's even there. People seem to think that any alternative to our current system is optional. Actually, finding an alternative is wajib. I hope you find this video useful. Like this video if you like. If you find it useful and beneficial, share with your friends, or subscribe to our channel. And if you want to give us a shout, you want to have some advice, consultation about anything related to crypto, you can contact us on our website, cryptohashreview.com. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.